We're going to go right now to the Broward County School Superintendent. Let's listen in.
Mr. Renzi. A teacher who was dead. Is that confirmed by you? A teacher shot? Teacher
I believe there's an administrator or teacher that is involved. There may be more. I can't confirm if that's been one of the fatalities at the moment.
Superintendent, this is a day I'm sure every superintendent fears to happen here in Broward.
It's a day that you pray every day. I get up that we will never have to see. It is in front of us, and I ask the community for your prayers, your support for these children and their families. We're going to do whatever we can to come together as a community to pull through this, and we will. And again, we're doing everything we possibly can. The students are being evacuated and released at the moment, so we're working through that process right now.
Are you aware of any indication, any warning, any hint that the students could have been planning?
We've received no warning, no indication, but again, there's going to be a thorough investigation. Typically, you see in these situations that there potentially could have been signs out there. I would be speculating at this point if there were, but we didn't have any warnings. There weren't any phone calls or threats that we know of that were made.
Superintendent, there's so many parents that are afraid to send their kids to school. What would you tell them out there?
What I would say is that we cannot live in a world that's built on fear. We have to do what we can to make sure that we provide the greatest safety measures we can for our kids. But what I'll tell you is that mental health issues in this country are growing, and they're a big challenge, and it's something that's going to need to certainly be addressed within our school systems as well as in the broader society to ensure that these kind of tragedies don't continue. We've got to be able to recognize individuals that are in distress, that have challenges, and be able to find ways to support them. But our schools, we do what we can to make sure they're as safe as they possibly can be for our children. And again, this is a day that we prayed would never be here at Broward County, but we're dealing with it, and we're going to deal with it as a community. We'll pull through it, and my prayers and heartfelt sorrow goes out to the families and this entire community.
Those comments about mental health and stress, are they speculation on your part, or do you have some information about who is responsible? And do you know
all I would say is that
other than the obvious.
Other than the obvious, that's correct. No, I don't. No sane person is going to go and commit such an atrocity. So I would say that it is something that we have to deal with.
But it's not based on your knowledge of.
It's not based on my knowledge of anything regarding the individual who committed this. But I know it's a challenge, and it's something that we've been certainly trying to deal with throughout Broward County and throughout this nation. But we're going to have to step up our efforts on that.
With someone in custody, so the rest of the students, hundreds of them are being evacuated right now, right?
That's correct. They're clearing buildings out. They're doing it in an orderly manner to make sure that's safe. So again, there's a enormous presence of law enforcement here, and they're assisting in the evacuation process as we speak.
Westglades right next door. Those students, the middle school, are those students still inside, or have they been?
They were on lockdown.
They are probably going through an evacuation process as well. We have students we know that are coming from some of our middle schools like Nova, where that typically may get dropped off here. We have them being dropped off at another school site, and we're notifying parents.
On a typical afternoon, what police presence and security presence is on?
Every high school in this county has police presence at the high school, so there were officers on the school site at all times.
Do you know for certain how many or where?
There typically are at least two cars of law enforcement individuals on our campuses on a daily basis.
Resource officers, are they called?
They're called school resource officers, that is correct.
Superintendent, was the shooter just contained to that one building? Do you know, did he go into another building?
Don't know the path or or exactly how the shootings occurred.
Where were you when you got that phone call and your heart had to have dropped?
So today has been a day of enormous mountains and valleys. I was leaving Monarch High School, where we were giving the Teacher of the Year keys to a brand new Toyota Camry that she won from being a Teacher of the Year in Broward County. We were celebrating our teachers, our schools, and got in the car. And as I'm driving back to the office, I start seeing communication, and I hear from staff that we may have a tragedy. And so I literally have come from giving the Teacher of the Year a car and celebrating our teachers and our district to where I am right now.
The deadliest school shooting in Broward County ever.
That's what it appears to be.
I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for updating us. There you just heard it from Superintendent.
That was Superintendent Robert Runcie.
I want to bring in CNN's Sarah Ganim. We were just listening to Robert Runcie. He's the Broward County School Superintendent. Sarah Ganim, you're from nearby. You know the area, and you've spoken to 2 students.
Yeah, that's right. Both of them actually telling me they were just about 10 minutes from leaving for the day, and a fire alarm went off inside of the building. They thought it was a drill, as you would if you were a student in high school, and they filed out as they practice. But one student who's 18 years old said she immediately knew something was wrong, that she heard 6 gunshots. As they were filing out, students began to run back towards the school. She ran back into a classroom that was not on the ground floor, and when I spoke to her, that was where she was, still barricaded in that classroom. Another student, 16-year-old boy, who made it farther out onto the campus. This is a very large school, just to paint a little bit of a picture, but he was in a different building much further away, made it out to his assigned position in the event of a fire drill, but realized that his teachers were acting frantic. And then police began to show up in bulletproof vests and long guns, and students began to run. And he actually climbed over a fence, ran through a field. This school is adjacent to a very large shopping complex that includes a Walmart. He said a lot of students ran into the Walmart, began calling home, and he was able to reach a place outside of the police perimeter where his mom was able to pick him up. But both students saying that it was the fire alarm that really began this incident just about 10 minutes before school ended. Another thing I want to note, Jake, is this school, it's Florida, good weather all the time. This isn't something that a lot of people think about, but most of the hallways inside of this school are outside. So the only safe place where you can barricade yourself is actually inside of a classroom.
Oh, that's an interesting observation. I want to note that the Broward County Sheriff has updated the situation. They have written in a tweet, quote, "So far we have at least 14 victims." I would just note that they're not, the Broward Sheriff is not delineating between fatalities and people who are wounded, but 14 victims. And then they go on to say, victims have been and continue to be transported to Broward Health Medical Center and Broward Health North Hospital. If you're a parent right now and you're watching, the Broward Sheriff Twitter account also has the address for the staging area where you can go to meet your student, your child, if you are still looking to figure out how to do so. I want to talk right now, and I'm bringing Charles Ramsey. He's a former police commissioner of Philadelphia, also was the former police chief here in Washington, D.C. Chief Ramsey, after a shooting like this, other than clearing the building, what are police doing?
Well, it's a crime scene. And so I'm sure that they're going to search every inch of that building to make sure, one, they don't have anyone else that poses a threat, and also if they have any children or teachers barricaded in one of the rooms or what have you. So they've got to do that. But then you've got a crime scene that they've got to be able to secure and begin processing. I'm told that the FBI is there, Broward County's crime scene investigative unit. They'll probably work together in order to get that done. The other thing that's happening right now, you just saw it with the Broward County Sheriff, and that's get information out so that parents know where to go to reunite with their children. If one of the children was one of the victims, where to go, what hospital they've been taken to. So all those things are going on at the same time.
And you heard the school superintendent being asked whether the shooter, who presumably is a student based on the questions that were being asked, whether if there had been any warning signs or indications that the student had any troubles, any indication that someday like this would ever happen. And the superintendent said that he did not know of any, but obviously there would be an investigation to see if any signals, any signs had been missed.
Yeah, all that'll happen after the fact. People will start to take a look and see, were there signs? Was there something they could have done? Had he sent out any messages, tweets, or anything like that to make people aware that he was about to do something? But right now, what you're faced with is a tragedy. No matter how you look at it, another incident where we've had people, children who are in school, one of the places that should be the safest place for them to be, that turns out to be the worst place for them to have been on this particular day. And I don't know if anything's going to happen. I doubt it. I have absolutely no faith in our Congress or elected officials to do anything. If Sandy Hook did not cause us to really rethink how we deal with guns in the hands of people that should not have them, then this certainly won't either. It's a shame, but it won't.